does put a smile on my face.
Disney. Some people love it. Some people hate it. But it undoubtedly causes a reaction. All right, welcome back to the podcast. Today's going to be a little bit of a different episode. This will be more like a video essay, but we're going to focus on one specific topic that I'm personally interested in and I think would be kind of cool to talk about. So,
hold on. Is this a video essay? Are you doing a video component?
well, there's going to be some background stuff, and I'm going to put up a couple graphics towards the beginning, kind of highlighting what I'm talking about here. And the question of the day is Disney's box office dominance over? And before people get all angry and be like, "What are you, stupid?" No, obviously not. I'm not here to say that they're done or oh yeah, Disney's they're not going to be competitive or be a large part of movies. The only thing I'm saying here is that I don't know if they're going to be the level of absolute dominance that we've seen from let's say 2015 to 2020, basically since COVID. And because they were 40%, they were commanding over 40% of the market, which is pure dominance when there's only 4 other people that command the rest of it. So
I hate to jump the gun on this, AJ, but are you not aware that James Cameron is producing not one, not two, but
no, we're gonna get to that
infinite number of Avatar movies?
I know.
You really think they're gonna lose dominance when the highest grossing movie in all of history is getting a sequel now?
We're gonna put a pin in that, but yes, we will be talking about Avatar in a second. But I want to talk more about this year in general, right? So, I'm a big movie buff. I most people probably don't pay attention to how much movies make, but I do. And this year's been very interesting for me because usually Disney is top of their game, and I'm not gonna count what happened during COVID because everyone lost money and that was kind of a free for all, and it wasn't really accurate to what the movie market was before COVID. And let's say even this month, the box office is not quite back to its pre-pandemic levels. Even though you're still seeing box office hits that are to pre-pandemic levels, the overall amount is still not there. So you're seeing a couple films do equally as good, No Way Home, for example, almost $2 billion, and it'll probably pass $2 billion once it does its re-release this month. But we're really just seeing a couple high-profile blockbusters, while the rest of the market's not doing that well.
Well, and not to interrupt you, but I think I might have the answer here for you as a willing participant in this. After kind of getting comfortable with viewing, media in COVID, most of the Marvel movies that come out, which we talk about them, they're all kind of mid now.
Yeah, they're not good.
At this point, it's if it doesn't really command my attention, especially after watching Doctor Strange, I'm oh, I'll just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus.
See, that's part of
I won't go see it. I'll just wait 5 months and it'll be out on Disney Plus and I get to watch it because I already pay for it.
That's part of it. But if we're just looking at this year as a whole, right? The first major blockbuster was The Batman, and that did pretty well. That did successful, but that's more of an adult-oriented film, so it didn't really do. And plus, it was still the winter, and I don't think the pandemic box office stuff had completely worn off. But this summer, we've had a lot of really high-profile releases that have made a ton of money. And it might have already gone by, but I did put up a figure where I highlighted in yellow the top 21 highest-grossing movies, and if they're highlighted in yellow, that means they're owned or produced by Disney, and it was 14 or 15 of them, of the total, was Disney, which is insane. And Disney was commanding such a high amount of the box office. So, but this year it's kind of turned on its head a little bit, which I find really interesting. Because if we're looking at what Disney has released this year, comparatively to previous years, it's not... let's take Doctor Strange, for example. It made $955 million of the box office, or just around there. Which is not bad. But for Doctor Strange plus Wanda, I feel like it could have done better. And I think part of it is because of what you just said, is that you're seeing fatigue, we're seeing superhero fatigue. People have had enough of the movies since Endgame. And No Way Home doesn't really count, that's a Spider-Man movie. But And also, like, just watch it on Disney Plus.
Well, I mean, that one also like banked on nostalgia because it was like, hey, remember the Spider-Man movies when they were good? Here's the actors again.
Yeah, exactly.
Say bye-bye. They're gone now.
No more. And then I think what what I think is a much better example I'm talking about is Thor: Love and Thunder, which I'm actually going to look it up right now.
Which I still haven't seen. We were gonna do an episode on it. Still haven't watched it.
You still never watched it, but Thor: Love and Thunder has made $748 million, which ain't shabby. That's not bad. But
yeah, it ain't shabby.
that's less than Ragnarok. And this is another, we got to talk about the big red elephant in the room, China. Disney has basically completely soured its relationship with China. In that the past, like, 6 or 7 Marvel films have not been released in China. Thor wasn't, Doctor Strange wasn't, Spider-Man wasn't, Eternals obviously wasn't, same with Shang-Chi, that wasn't, Black Widow wasn't. Yeah, I think Endgame might have been the last one, or maybe Far From Home might have been the last one to be released in China. And if Thor: Love and Thunder had been released in China, it might have been able to push past Ragnarok. But as it sits, that's $100 million off the table. While films like Jurassic World, the Dominion that just came out, and Batman did release in China. But that's part of a larger thing we're not really going to talk about, and how the Chinese movie market has moved much more towards domestic films and how they're really only supporting Chinese-made films, or they're, with the exception of a couple like Fast and Furious and Jurassic Parks, they're pretty much not showing U.S. films. And want to hear a funny story? Do you want to know the only reason they didn't show No Way Home in China?
I'm trying to take a guess, but
Where does the third act take place? The final fight scene, where does it take place?
What, in New York City, doesn't it?
No, but like where, very specifically?
Statue of Liberty?
Exactly. That's why it got banned.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Because the Statue of Liberty?
It's a symbol of America.
Do they really hate America that much over there?
Well, yeah, but they don't like American exceptionalism or anything. That's like the Chinese box office and the way that Hollywood panders to it is a whole other discussion that I don't want to get into right now. But I do think it is relevant in the fact that Disney has strained that relationship, and that they pretty much don't release their movies there. And I'm not saying they won't in the future, but that's a lot of money off the table that some of these other film studios are not dealing with. And the number one movie of the year, which is the other thing I want to talk about, the number one movie of the year by far, domestically and worldwide, is Top Gun Maverick. By far, 1.4, almost at $4 or $5 billion, which is, I mean, you have to account for inflation a little bit, but that's still insane. And it has legs. It is still in the top 5 grossing films of the weekend, and has been out since like what, June or July?
Yep.
Yeah. And let's say I went and saw it, and it was really good. And word of mouth has really pushed that film past these other films, like Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange. None of these films have the legs that Top Gun Maverick did. And I think it's because of old people actually went to see that film.
Yeah.
And its word of mouth was excellent. Like, people gave it extremely high reviews and said, go watch it. And even though, like, Top Gun's a big franchise, you wouldn't say it's as big as Marvel is now in terms of its relevance.
Is Top Gun that big of a franchise?
I mean, apparently, $1.45 billion?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I don't think of it as a big franchise. What else does it have? Is there like a TV show or something?
No, it's just the 2 movies, but I would say it's a giant franchise now. You wouldn't expect usually movies where you have like a 40-year gap between them, usually the second one, A, isn't as good as the original, and B, like, isn't successful. Look at, like, in the Independence Day, like, as an example of the sequel Independence Day. I don't even remember what it was called.
Wasn't that one just
awful.
A remake?
No, it was a sequel, but it was horrible.
Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah, but I think that's important, and now I want to get to the real big downer of Disney's box office this year, which is Lightyear. I need to look up how much it made, but it was a box office bomb. And when I mean bomb, I think it cost $300 million to make in market. Let's see, how much did it make? It made $226 million. And remember, man, these movie studios
It didn't even get past the budget?
No, but you remember, like, Disney, like, in the studio, Disney doesn't get all $226 million. A good chunk of that has to go to the movie theaters. So, whatever chunk that they got, that movie didn't make money, but it went on Disney Plus. So, that's where they're going to maybe try to offset the cost, but still. This is connected to Toy Story, the number 1 most successful animated series of all time, and it bombed hard. And guess what families went to see? Not this.
Minions.
They want to go see Minions, exactly. That movie's almost, it's not quite at $900 million, but it's almost at like $900 million.
Yeah, I still want to go see Minions.
I mean, yeah, but that became a whole meme. People were going to see it, and families chose that.
Well, that's the word of mouth.
I get, yeah, part of it, but...
Beat out Lightyear. I mean, I wanted to see Lightyear, but then I was like, eh.
I watched it on Disney Plus, and I'm like, yeah, that was like, okay, it's like a 5 out of 10, it's fine. It's not offensive, it's not terrible, it's just not good either. But and this kind of leads into the crux of everything, is that I have like a little list of things that caused Disney to reach their like 40 plus 45% level of dominance, and that was their Star Wars films. So let's do that first. What Star Wars films are coming out? None. They do TV shows now. They have Rogue Squadron and the Taika Waititi Star Wars film. The only 2 confirmed ones right now, and those are years away at best.
Rogue Squadron's a movie?
Yeah, that's a movie. Okay. That's the one directed by Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman.
That's right. So yeah, I remember. They
did a release trailer for it, then they pushed the movies back, so we don't know when they're coming out or what's happening with them. Remember, they had one every Christmas. That was like a guaranteed end of the year box office success. Those are gone now. Pixar films: Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, Toy Story 4, all made over $1 billion. Where are they? Gone. Lightyear, $226 million. Failure. And you can't say it's the pandemic, because Minions is making... I'm not saying it
$900 million.
Yeah, I'm not saying that these films have to necessarily reach, like, go to like where these pre-pandemic films were, but you can clearly see that Lightyear was a big failure, because there are other animated films like Minions that's making $900 million, and even like that like Bad Guys DreamWorks animated one and the DC Super Pets are making around what Lightyear made, maybe a little less, but still, if that's the league that Lightyear, a Pixar film connected to Toy Story, is making, that's bad. That's just awful.
Yeah, we gotta go see Super Pets. That one.
Yeah, with Kevin Hart and The Rock.
Kevin Hart and The Rock. They keep throwing The Rock in all the movies still.
The third thing that made Disney so successful in terms of like, and again, when I say successful, I just want to reiterate, this is like dominance. I still think Disney will be very successful, but I don't think they're going to be quite. Even if they're number one, there won't be as large of a margin between number one and number two. All right, and the third thing that I think caused this level of dominance would be the live action remakes that Disney made, where they did it for like The Lion King and The Jungle Book, and they did Dumbo with Danny DeVito. Remember that one?
Oh, that's right.
I didn't watch it, but
yeah, I didn't see that one either, but I remember it coming out.
The Lion King, the remake, made $1.66 billion, and it's technically, in air quotes, the highest grossing animated film of all time, because it's completely animated, even though it's like supposed to be live action. And guess what? They just released one recently on Disney Plus, Pinocchio, and that's where they're going. And that also applies to Pixar, because both up until Lightyear, which they released in theaters only because it's connected to Toy Story, they did the Turning Red, Soul, and Luca, all on Disney Plus. And you can't even say that's like, oh, Disney's just doing their animated films on Disney Plus, because they released Encanto, and there's an upcoming Disney animated film studio, which is a separate studio from Pixar. Those both got released in theaters. Well, Encanto did. Probably because it's a musical, I'm guessing, but still, even this upcoming Disney animated film it's not Pixar, but it's still getting released in theaters. So, I don't know what the discrepancy is there, because it's inconsistent about what they're doing at Disney Plus in theaters or what they're not. So, yeah, so that's 3 things. We have Star Wars, which is gone. The Pixar, which who knows what they're doing. And then the live action remakes. The fourth thing that made them so successful, I would argue, is that Marvel, obviously. And we touched on this a little bit, and how we're seeing the superhero fatigue, and how the Marvel films aren't doing the heights they once did. And I think and if we look at the upcoming slate of films, which we reviewed in a previous episode, which one of those films is going to be a blockbuster hit, with the exception of the Avengers films?
Yeah, well, the Avengers films are kind of a gimme. Yeah, it's just having the Avengers name tagged on there as free money. In 2025, when they release both of them, I think we'll see that year might be a little more skewed towards Disney, just because they're releasing 2 Avengers films, which is a little off. And pretty much, I would say maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the only other one that I can see doing and really pushing the envelope of being a box office, mega hit. But even the first 2 films never made over $900 million, and that was pre-COVID, so. Yeah, that might be your bias towards it, as it is your favorite Marvel movie.
It's my favorite Marvel franchise, but still,
franchise, sorry.
it's not Avengers level box office hits. And I think they'll still do good, but I don't. Again, we're seeing superhero fatigue, and we're seeing just with the Disney Plus shows releasing so much content each year that people just aren't watching it all. You can't keep up with it. We have trouble keeping up with it. And we're more active than most people.
Yeah, and that's our internet show basically, is talking about the Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah, I know. So now that's 4 things that are not in as strong of a position as they were pre-COVID. And now we talk about 20th Century Fox, right? They bought that. That's taken 20, maybe not 20, but like that's taking one of the 6 major studios out of the equation. That automatically increases your standing, as Disney did. That's part of the reason they got like such high levels. I think in the little chart I showed earlier, it showed that like once they bought Fox, their percentage of the market skyrocketed. Because you basically took out a major competitor and absorbed their films. And what have they done with Fox since?
Nothing.
They released Free Guy. And
Disney made Free Guy?
Well, no, Fox did.
Sorry, Fox did.
Fox made. And here I have a little list. They did. I think out of all of these, they had The Last Duel, Free Guy, and Death on the Nile were the only big theater releases. None of those made like more than 200 million. Oh, The King's Man 2, that still only made maybe 100 million. And Prey, which is like the really big Predator series, straight to Hulu.
Straight to Hulu. Yeah, that confused me a little bit. Why something like that went straight to Hulu?
I don't know, because most of these Fox films are either going straight to Hulu or they're not that big. And then, let's talk about the big unknown. For the rest of this year, we're gonna have Black Adam as the only other competition in terms of a big blockbuster. Well, Black Adam, then Black Panther. I think Black Panther 2 will probably do pretty well, but I don't know if it'll quite hit.
Maybe. I mean, part of me thinks people might not go and see it just because of the uncertainty of it. Like,
yeah, without Chadwick Boseman, is it gonna? I don't think it'll necessarily reach the heights of the first film.
I don't know. Plus, they kind of just like, the trailer says nothing about the movie. I mean, I watched the trailer and it really doesn't tell you at all what's going on.
Yeah, I think that
it seems like it might be too vague, and I think people might just pass up on it because they see the trailer, they're like, do I want to spend my money on this? Like, things continue to get more expensive. Movie tickets I'm sure are going to go up in price eventually. Like, is this something I want to go see with my family and spend, 4 people $40 on? No, or just wait till it comes out on Disney Plus.
I saw something interesting about that. Like, since like the 80s, like we're talking like 1,000 something, maybe 1,600% increase in movie ticket prices. That way outpaces inflation. Like, way outpaces it.
Yeah.
And I think Black Panther 2 will do well. I just don't think it's going to be the $1.4 billion that the first one made, or however much around there. I don't think it'll reach that height. And then we get to the real unknown, which is Avatar, which you mentioned at the beginning. So they're doing 4 more Avatar films. Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're going to release them pretty much every December, or like maybe there'll be a couple years. So I have the release dates right here. We have this one, then 3 comes out in 2024, and 2026, 2028.
I was going to say, isn't it every 2 years that they were doing it?
This movie is such an unknown. Because obviously the first one is the highest grossing film of. But no, we're not talking about quality here. This conversation has nothing to do with the quality of these films. It's just how much money they make.
Yeah, but that has to be related to the quality. I just can't believe they're making 4 of them.
5. Oh yeah, there'll be 5
more,
total.
I mean, there's one that's already out. I mean, the movie was shit. It wasn't very good.
No, I know, but we're talking about the highest grossing film of all time, and I would bet my life savings that this film is obviously not going to surpass the first one.
No, what do you mean? Isn't there a trailer out for it now?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not going to become this is the sequel to the highest grossing film of all time. It's not going to surpass it. It's not.
No, there's a 0% chance of that happening.
Yeah. But will it be successful? I honestly have no clue. Yeah, no idea.
Okay, well here's the thing about like the first one. Part of what made it so successful was like I remember hearing it, the word of mouth. Because it
wasn't the word of mouth. It was the fact that 3D.
No, I remember hearing the word of mouth about how it was like this cutting edge animation, and it looked so good, and the 3D and stuff like that.
3D
and
is
it
what
in
pushed
IMAX.
it past.
And it was this like crazy big release. Can CGI get any better at this point? Like,
but the draw of this time around, the draw is obviously not going to be like the like you
I
said,
know,
the CGI.
yeah, but,
it's
like,
not going to be the draw of this
I
film.
know,
It's the
but-
fact that it's a big franchise now.
I know, but then it's gonna go back to the quality. It's like, are people gonna recommend this? You're building a story off of nothing. The whole story of the first one is America bad. That's the whole story. Is like, ooh, look at these evil Marines. They're cutting down trees, so I'm gonna join the. I'm gonna join the native aliens.
It wasn't in America bad. It was more like humans bad.
Except they were all Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
except they were all Americans, and the bad guy. And the bad guy was this big
American-made film.
big buff, really, really striking jawline Marine that's all ripped, and then he gets in a mech suit like it's the end of Alien.
Yeah, I know. But like, all right, so hear me out. It's gonna benefit from being the only Christmas film out, really, the only big blockbuster Christmas film. That's gonna benefit it, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But let's be honest here. What is considered what would you consider a success for this film? How much does it have to make for you to be like, yeah, that was a box office super success for Disney?
Super success? It has to make more than Minions. It has to make more than $900 million.
That's fair. I would say if it doesn't
if Minions outperforms the new Avatar, then I don't think it's a box office success.
I would agree with that. But for me, it has to make at least $1 billion. If it doesn't make $1 billion, it's not a success.
So basically more than Minions. Because Minions is at $900 million.
I don't expect it to necessarily surpass Top Gun Maverick at the $1.45-ish billion that it'll probably finish its run with. It's still going strong now, at least pretty good for how long it's been out.
So here's
if it comes in second place of the year of the films, I would say it is a success.
Here's what I'm thinking, because you talked about the whole long-term plan with these Avatar movies. I think this next one will be a big success. I'm probably going to go see it out of the curiosity, like the what if, because...
But I feel like we don't count.
No, I know. But I mean, I feel like a lot of people would think that way because the last one came out in, 2009?
I think
2009 or 2008. And they're could now have this plan to continue this franchise of, like, the highest grossing film of all time. A lot of people are probably going to be like, I remember when that came out.
Plus, they did the Disney World.
Go see it.
In Disney World, and in Animal Kingdom in Disney World, they did the
big
land,
tree.
the Avatar land.
But here's the thing is, now, after this movie comes out, if it doesn't have the quality, like, because, I mean, to be honest, good animation really isn't hard to come by like it was then, like good CGI.
Yeah, but the amount of money...
now indie game developers can have that kind of quality in their games.
Yeah, but
like
the amount of money that they spent on this film, it's obviously going to look really good.
No, well, I know it's going to look really good, but I mean, it can't stand on just that quality, so it's going to have to pick up somewhere in, like, if it's not really good story, like really good action sequences, because if not, you're left with nothing, and people probably aren't going to see the third one.
Yeah,
and we'll wait for it on Disney Plus, and that'll be the deciding factor for me when I go and see it. And if we see it together or something like that, it's gonna be, all right, is it worth watching the next one? Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm feeling like that might be the way it goes. Is if this one will come out, and then the next three might not make that much money if it's not very good.
Yeah, but there's enough time in between the films that I think that all of them will probably do well. But the question is, how well? And it's honestly a complete unknown. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I mean by that. Like, maybe the next one will make, $1 billion, and it'll be, number 2 for the year. But if it, just because of the curiosity of it, but if it's not good, the next one might be, number 3 might be a light year, and it makes $400 million.
Maybe. I mean,
the people saw it, a year before, 2 years before? It comes out 2023, and then the one after is 2024? And then it goes 2026, 2028. Like, a year prior, people might be like, oh, well, that movie wasn't very good. So I don't want to go see it with my family. I don't want to go spend $15 a ticket, $10 a ticket for a matinee. And it just won't do well. They'll wait for it on Disney Plus, Yeah,
I mean, that's fair, but we're speculating so far ahead now that there's honestly no way to know. But
2024 is not that far off the mark.
Yeah, but
I'm not talking about the 5th movie in 2028 in 6 years.
I know, but let's move on to the last thing that I think might consolidate Disney's downfall. That's a little extreme, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're collapsing like the Roman Empire. They're crashing and burning like HBO.
Yep. Sell your Disney stock now. I'm just kidding.
Sell all of it. All of it. Sell all of your Disney stock right now.
Yeah. Do not take any financial advice from us. But
all right, our sponsorship's over.
Yeah, we lost our Robinhood sponsorship that we did not have.
We finished our Robinhood sponsorship.
Yeah, the one we
completed
had.
it. They told us. They said, go on there and tell everybody to sell Disney. They said that to us in real life. I have the email.
All right. But the last one is the competitors. So, who has been doing the films that have been doing exceptionally well are not Disney films. And here's the thing: there is still time for Disney to rise to the top with like Black Panther 2 and Avatar 2. But let's be honest, of the top 5 film this year, the only one that Disney's is Doctor Strange, and that's like a mid-level Marvel movie that did pretty good, like maybe above average for a Marvel film, but not crazy.
Well, I mean, that one probably did well because of the advertising the multiverse, and then it kind of didn't.
Yeah. And if we're talking worldwide, it drops down a spot.
Yeah, like it just had them running around the multiverse for 2 hours, and it's like, wow, look at all this weird, crazy stuff, and then there's the final battle, and it's just on the same planet.
And now, if we're looking at the competitors, in terms of DC, if DC is successful in their new 10-year plan, which I honestly don't know how well that's going to go, but we know the Batman 2 and the Joker 2 will probably do very successful. And I think the Batman 2 will do much better than the first one because it will not be COVID.
Do you think so?
I think so.
I guess so because of the not COVID. I mean, the first one did
it'll already
very well.
It did okay, but not as good as the 2 Marvel films. It did about the same as Thor, I think. The Thor and Batman are like equal. But this time, the second Batman film will be established, and it will also not... Yeah, COVID, I think, is a big factor. And Joker 2, I'm sure, will do very well. And then the rest of them, I mean, Aquaman, the first Aquaman, the highest-grossing DC film, and they got the second one coming out. I can't imagine it won't do bad. And that one is more appealing, I feel, to the overseas markets anyway. So, again, I don't know how well DC is going to be able to match it, but... they might. And, I mean, I don't know, Harry Potter, I don't even know. And then if we look at the other...
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, are there more Harry Potter
the Fantastic Beasts. There's a couple more of those coming out. So
J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, crash and burn.
Yeah, will those do good?
Hopefully not.
I don't know. But let's look. Jurassic Park, they're probably going to release more of those.
That's true.
And more they have another 3 Fast and Furious movies coming out, and another Despicable Me, I think.
Of course there are. I think there's one big lesson. At the end of this kindergarten lesson we're doing for our podcast episode, I think there should be a nice, wholesome, overarching message, and it's make new franchises.
That would be awesome.
Please stop giving us the same franchises.
Did you see Bullet Train?
No, I haven't yet, but I intend to.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
Brand new franchise, highly recommend. That film was awesome.
I know. Honestly, we need more support for new franchises because, like...
Go see Bullet Train.
How many times are you gonna make the Minions? Like Minions Rise of Gru did very well, but like another Despicable Me, which is really just gonna be a Minions movie. Like, how many times are you gonna make this? Like, I remember when the first Despicable Me came out in 2007, like 2008. It's an old movie.
It's kind of crazy how far that franchise has gone. But...
All of these franchises, they've gone so far. I mean, I remember Marvel, looking at the original plan just to get, the original, whatever it was, 10-year plan to get to the first Avengers movie. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And they're still making them. They are still making the movies with this timeline and complicated universe. Make something else. I feel like a lot of them, it's the more you add, the more it takes away from the good movies.
Yeah, I mean...
Because you run out of stuff to make.
I know, they're making another Kung Fu Panda 4 now. Did you see that?
Thank the Lord Jesus Christ, they're making another one. What is this, number 5? There are 3 TV shows and 5 movies?
And honestly, if we're talking about, the most successful kids movie of the year besides Minions has been Sonic 2. That's not Disney.
With Idris Elba?
Yep. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, at least that's only the second one, though.
They're making a third. It's going to be Jim Carrey's last film.
I know, and that doesn't really, surprise me that much. Because, at least it's only the third one, and there aren't Sonic movies to go off of prior to this. It's not a new franchise, but it's this is the kind of the first time they're making this video game movie. At least we got that to go off of. It's not, Marvel, the 100th installation. We've done seen all the superheroes,
I mean, you can never have enough superhero movies, that's what I say.
They aren't even making new ones, though.
No. But anyway, the competition that Disney's going to face is also a little bit of an unknown, and if they can actually muster anything, then I think that will hurt their Disney's box office dominance, which is the whole topic. But there's one more thing I want to touch on, and that's we've basically been talking about the whole episode, but that's Disney Plus, obviously, and I don't think let me find my words. I think that this decrease in dominance is partially intentional on Disney's part because they are willing to sacrifice that in terms of gain on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, that kind of goes back to the first thing I said, where the simplest explanation is a lot of people just, if it's a movie they're not super interested in, they're like, I'll wait for it on Disney Plus. And I think Disney knows that people will do that.
No, but they're just even a lot of movies that they would have put into theaters and now just straight to Disney Plus releases.
Yeah.
As we said, like the remakes and the Pixar films and even like Star Wars. Like Star Wars is the perfect example. They have completely moved away from Star Wars films to shows. Completely. It's a total shift.
I mean, well, this is like this is like our Avengers Endgame here, because this is tying back to a lot of old episodes now.
I also
like
want to bring this up because if anyone who listened this far, Spider-Man doesn't count because it's owned half by Sony. So yeah, Disney kind of counts as part of that, but that's also not a full Disney thing. So Spider-Man and any Spider-Man Spider-Man stuff not in the MCU is 100% not Disney, and then just the Tom Holland stuff is kind of Disney. So that doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But now I forgot my train of thought. This calls back to a lot of our old episodes, like the last one we did about how, all of streaming is turning into just cable too. Disney's it seems like it's all hands on deck for that. They just want cable because of how profitable that is. They're just making cable again.
I think
it'll all just be streaming plus one day.
Yeah, I think this was inevitable. It was going to happen. It's pretty much kind of already happened, but we're seeing a small shift back because all these big entertainment companies are starting to put their films back into theaters and are starting to realize that I think they jumped the gun a bit early on the releasing everything on streaming. Because Warner Brothers did the same. We're doing this like they're on HBO Max or we're doing same day and date. Like it goes on HBO Max and theaters the same day, and the whole industry basically was got very mad at them. And then the only way they got to forgive some people is that they paid them off, be like, oh, you get a big chunk of money, because Gal Gadot was mad because Wonder Woman went straight to streaming, and then they lost a bunch of box office money, and part of her contract to get paid was the box office return of the film. And that's very common, which I think you're going to see a shift away from that being in people's contracts. It's going to be like, how many streaming numbers did it get instead? And I think Disney may have jumped the gun a little bit, and I think COVID accelerated this process to streaming. It really did. It accelerated it. And you're seeing the studios start to pull back just a little bit, but it's inevitable that it's going to be streaming.
Yeah, well, having everybody in their homes for a year and a half, streaming became the big thing, and a lot of trends and stuff started because of streaming. And I'm not saying that trends aren't still big in streaming and stuff. It's just that every company was like, oh, streaming, let's go all in on that. And now they're suffering at the box office because they put so much into streaming that people stopped going to the movies.
Yeah. And did you see that this past July, streaming finally overtook cable?
Yes. That was on our last episode.
Was it?
Yeah, the whole last episode was about HBO Max and kind of streaming as a whole. So
HBO Max is still
callback, and we talk about
awful and horrible.
And I mean,
I'm still mad at them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to talk about mad? You were talking about how Star Wars has moved completely to shows. Why the fuck is Kenobi not a movie? Whenever it comes out, the fan recreation of Kenobi as a movie, the way it was supposed to be released, I want to talk about that on here and link it. And don't ask the guy for money, and if we get a copyright strike, we get a copyright strike. Because I just want to promote that as much as possible, because that's the way it should have been made. It should have just been a movie. It should have just been a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
But they were like, nah, TV show with a bunch of filler that you don't care about.
No, I know. But all of this collides into Disney's box office dominance. I don't want to say it's gone, but it's on the decline. And part of it is them, and they're probably perfectly okay with that, because they would rather have the upper hand for the next age of streaming than be like, oh, we're number one for box office. They're still gonna do the big ones and their big Marvel films and stuff in theaters, and I still think obviously they're going to be competitive. They're going to make a lot of money with their movies, but I just don't think it's going to be to the level. And you might even see some of these other companies maybe surpass Disney some of these years. Not the Avengers year, but maybe some of these other years. And honestly, Avatar is going to be I think that'll be a big part of how, if they stay number one,
that'll be the deciding battle in the streaming
and it'll
wars.
Be can Warner Brothers Discovery and DC and like Jurassic Park and all these other big franchises, can they muster a response to Star Wars?
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is basically out of the equation now, so it's just gonna be Marvel.
Yeah.
Can they muster a response to Marvel and Avatar? Avatar has replaced Star Wars.
It's the streaming wars. It's like the format wars from regular show.
Yeah.
They're all fighting to overtake Disney now.
But let's be honest, Avatar is not as strong of a franchise as Star Wars. So
Avatar's not a strong franchise at all.
We're gonna find out.
It just made a ton of money. It's movie's not good.
No, we're gonna find out this December. Well, I think we've pretty much exhausted this topic. But hey, let us know in the comments what you think about Disney and like the switch from theaters to streaming, because it's kind of sad for me, because like I really love the movie theaters, and I hope that like I want to be able to like take my kids to the theater, because I think it's an awesome experience and I love it, and I really truly hope it does not go away. But
I don't think it'll grow away. I don't think it'll go away. I think it might just turn into something more niche.
Well, what I'm afraid is it's going to be more like you go to see the End Games and the No Way Homes, and they're just big event films, which is like cool. But I also like the local theater where you get to see the like new like Bullet Train, like that's. I will continue to like say like advocate for that film. Go see that film. It's a new franchise. It's awesome. It's entertaining. Is it the greatest movie of all time? No, but it is really entertaining and has awesome action and good acting. So go see it. Go see Bullet Train, and yeah, let us know.
I will go see it. I'm taking that personally as a recommendation,
You
but
should.
I'll second that recommendation to all our listeners, because you're pretty you have pretty good recommendations on movies.
Just let us know in the comments what you guys think about this whole situation.
You know what? If we're plugging movies here, there's one I want to recommend. I don't think you've seen it either. We'll have to watch it together. District 9. Go watch District 9. It's phenomenal.
I haven't seen it, but we'll watch it together then.
It is. It's fantastic.
All right,
it's an old movie, but it's totally worth it. I saw it recently.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, anything else we got to plug?
No, just I guess we'll plug our basic like.
Everyone at the bird in the comment and guess its names. I'm sure he snuck in there.
Hopefully you might have heard the bird.
Sorry
in the background a little bit.
Sorry about the bird in the studio, guys. Sorry for yelling at you, bird, when
he's being quiet right now.
When you talked over us, he's being nice. He's usually nice when we're recording, because we do it when he's asleep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, and yeah, let us know your thoughts. That's the basic YouTube saying, right?
Yeah. No. What is it? I'm trying to draw it forward. Is it like, comment, subscribe?
No one's ever said that
Patreon.com/permanent detour.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the one we're reaching for here.
Yeah, the Patreon that we definitely have.
Yep, look it up. We have a Patreon. I guarantee it.
All right.
If you have money, my PayPal's in the comments.
We're just gonna link.
It will be evenly distributed among the crew members. I promise.
Yeah, we're just gonna link our PayPal's. Pay us.
Yeah, just link a Venmo.
I'm just kidding.
We ain't doing.
You don't have to pay us.
No benefits. No benefits. Just Venmo me.
No benefits. Just give me money.
Don't pay us.
I love begging. All right. Well, yeah.
We're not begging. It's all jokes.
It's all jokes.
We're just kidding.
All right. Let us know your thoughts, guys, and see you next time.
See you on the next one, folks.
We play fair and we work hard and we're in harmony. M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Forever let us hold our banner high, 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 high. Boys and girls from far and near, you're welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y,